All right, so this is a suggestion via a donation. Now, the name of the video is Why Can't the U.S. Solve Hunger? Guys, the issue of hunger in the United States of America is extremely complex and like massively multifaceted, guys. I mean, you cannot attribute a single cause or even lack of effort at times, guys, right? Like there are several factors that actually contribute to why things are the way they are, right? We can start looking at the homelessness, poverty, unemployment, and even underemployment at times, guys, right? Income inequality, meaning specifically you can have generational rich and generational poor, right? Like people that have just been stuck in that system for such a long time that they just cannot crawl themselves out of it. If that makes any sense, guys? That leads to probably also an inefficient social security net also could be an issue. To actually go out and help those people specifically. Access to healthy food could be another issue. Even food education, right? To know that bag of chips is not the same as this carrot. If that makes any sense, guys. So yeah, there are a lot of issues, guys. Let's go and check it out. Let's see where this takes us, guys.
The U.S. is one of the wealthiest nations in the world. It ranks first based on total GDP and seventh based on GDP per capita. Yet when it comes to food security, America ranks 22nd among developed countries.
People are working hard every day in this country.
America ranks 22nd among
Okay. All right, let's go.
Countries.
People are working hard every day in this country to bring food home for themselves and their families. But right now in the United States, we are facing a hunger crisis.
33.8 million Americans didn't have adequate access to food, according to the latest report from the USDA. That's 13.5 million, or 10.2% of all U.S. households in 2021.
I'd literally stand on 2nd Avenue at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'd get off the subway and go around behind the restaurants and wait for the bakeries to deliver bread. When you're that hungry to steal bread from the restaurants behind the stores, you're hungry.
Spending on food assistance programs has grown exponentially, reaching a record of $182.5 billion in 2021.
I think when it comes to this right here, this is kind of where I'm saying like this insufficient social security net in a sense, guys. We need to make sure that everyone using this is like they should be getting it, guys, because there are way too many people that sell these things. I'm not saying that this is the majority, guys, but there are a lot of people who sell these.
But food insecurity has only improved slightly since 2001. While the number of people experiencing
definitely not the overall
grew slightly
overwhelming majority.
Period.
It's not the majority, guys.
Better, it improves. But we haven't seen major movements on the metric, I would say.
The latest research from the Bread Institute in 2014 says the U.S. has lost almost $5.5 billion due to lost productivity caused by hunger.
It's much less expensive to feed you than it is many other of our societal challenges. Let's start with food, because the impact on the system is incredibly expensive and will live on for generations.
Right.
So why are so many Americans still hungry? And what can be done to solve it?
Let's go.
Food prices soared to record heights in 2022, pressuring households already in a pinch. Annual food at home prices climbed by 11.4% in 2022, compared to the year prior.
Food inflation, as we've seen during the pandemic, has gone up, driven in large part by supply chain disruptions and shortages of food supply during the pandemic.
Several experts point to income as the major cause behind food insecurity in America.
Issues of affordability and equity.
Guys, really quickly, I'm going to interject. I think that there could be a little bit more to that, guys. Being that we live in a capitalist society, right? While this happened, a lot of people couldn't transport their goods, guys. Like when the 19 happened, at least, right? If you get what I'm saying here. And they lost money. So what they did was they brought the prices up to make up for that loss of income. Because they lost money and product that year, guys. Seriously.
Are the two driving forces
They're trying
across
to catch
the United
up.
States. You can be working, yet you still need help. And so the wages are not carrying Americans far enough.
The resources they have are so strained that paying the light bill, paying for childcare, gas to get to work is trading off against food.
The financial pressure from buying food gets higher the less you make. In 2021, the bottom 20% of households with the lowest income spent 30.6% of what they made on food, compared to just 7.6% for households in the highest income quintile. It's a problem that
Wonder why that
Gregory
is.
Boots, a bow tie maker in Harlem, experiences every day.
I have actually 88 cents in my bank account right now. June was not a good bow tie month. I'm not crying, but I still come here every afternoon and get my dinner, which I don't eat until 7 o'clock.
For this very specific instance, guys, I understand you dedicated your life to making bow ties, right? But the average person doesn't wear bow ties. Like, if that's what you're doing with your life instead of doing something else that can kind of generate income, I don't know, bro. That one right there feels a little weird, bro. You should be doing something else. Obviously, the market is not there. You have to understand how the market dynamics, right? And there are not enough people that wear bow ties in Harlem, right, to buy his product. So that doesn't seem like something lucrative. He should probably be switching, just to be honest, guys.
Food bank is open 5 days a week, generally. Saturday and Sunday, there's no food available. And that's when it hits you.
Meanwhile,
That's what I would tell my
nearly
son.
A quarter of households that include a working adult with a disability were food insecure, compared to just 7% of households without disabilities.
Yeah. And that's that healthcare cost thing, guys. Honestly, it just comes down to healthcare costs. The cost of our healthcare is absolutely stressing all of the citizens, and specifically the less money you make and you have any type of disabilities, and you have to actually go buy medicine. I'm sure there are people, honestly, choosing their medicine over food that day, guys.
The main predictor of food insecurity in the United States is disability status, by far, especially mental health challenges.
Socially disadvantaged individuals are the ones most heavily impacted by food insecurity. Take communities of color, for example. Nearly 1 in 5 Black households and 16.2% of Hispanic households suffered from food insecurity in 2021, compared to just 10.2% of non-Hispanic minority households.
1 in 5. Okay.
2021, compared to just 10.2% of non-Hispanic minority households and 7% of white households.
Income's important, but the more important thing is the constraints that especially those who are most vulnerable amongst us are facing.
If economic opportunity isn't equally shared, which it isn't yet in our country, that means that it's good.
Guys, you guys pointed out in the video I did yesterday, apparently I am extremely detached from, I guess, people, right? Specifically people that look like me, apparently, guys, because I hear this number 1 in 5 and it just shocks me because I can pick 5 guys and that's not the case, guys, right? I can pick 10 and it's not the case. I don't know where these numbers come from, guys. But I'm guessing, I mean, I guess I do. It's just the overwhelming majority, obviously. But 1 in 5 seems a bit high because, in my experience, that's a completely wrong average, guys. But let's get it.
Going to have the same impact on food
I acknowledge.
insecurity. And it's a problem we need to address.
Food deserts have also been widely blamed as another main cause of hunger. USDA estimates that about 53.6 million people, or 17.4% of the population in the US, live in areas considered low income and low access, meaning the nearest supermarket is more than
put your
1/2
pants up.
mile or 10 miles away.
Food deserts are something that plague us. It's part of the systematic failure that we have in America.
And this is kind of what I'm saying here, guys. And let's say you had $5 to spend on food, maybe, for your day. And you're going to go into one of these small convenience stores, and this is literally all that is in the area. That's it. This is the food for, like, the entire neighborhood, bro. Yeah, this would be probably the definition of a food desert, guys. Nothing but junk, like refined sugars and pastries.
If you don't have access to food, you are just increasing your chances of greater food insecurity.
Right. Then
But
ending
some
up
experts argue
in
that
healthcare.
access isn't the issue. A 2018 study from the National Bureau of Economic Research concluded that exposing low-income households to the same products and prices as higher-income households had no meaningful effects on eating habits.
Then it's education.
All of us in the food insecurity space know that they're completely irrelevant. I'd much rather have somebody have, say, a Walmart within 1.5 miles than a poorly stocked food store within 2 blocks. In other words, it's food prices that matter, not food access.
I think part of this is how problems compound problems. If you are someone who's living in poverty, has very low income, you might be living in a neighborhood that doesn't have great access to high quality grocery stores. So they are a little bit mutually reinforcing. But to me, it is the economics and the income are the biggest drivers.
Food insecurity is an expensive burden to the U.S. economy as a whole.
Food security should be a business imperative. It relates to productivity. It relates to a team that can come in every day and...
Yeah, but if you think about all these grocery stores and even Walmart, like ask Walmart, look at the overall budget, right? It is not lucrative at all to have a grocery store inside of Walmart, bro. It isn't. Like they actually lose money on the grocery side. Keep that in mind, guys. Like, I mean, there would have to be something else that would kind of make it beneficial for them to even put a grocery store in places, guys. Let's be honest. Probably the grocery store is what brings people in, and then they spend money somewhere else because there's not much profit in that food that you're buying at low costs, guys. Right? They are losing money on grocery stores. Pretty much most grocery stores lose money unless you start buying like chocolate bars and whatever deli items they have in their hot food section. They're basically losing money across the board in like every grocery store.
Work and create a product. If your workers are hungry,
it's hard to tell a business to lose money.
The latest research from the Bread
on
Institute
purpose
says the U.S. has lost over $5 billion due to lost productivity caused by hunger as of 2014.
If a child is hungry, you cannot teach them. It's not going to happen. And if that brain doesn't develop properly, then there is going to be all kinds of societal problems carried on for generations.
Bread Institute also estimates the cost of special education caused by hunger to be over $5.9 billion
special
in 2014,
education caused
while nearly
by
$13
hunger.
billion are lost due to dropouts, attributed to food insecurity in the United States that same year.
It frustrates me that our political system and politicians don't grab something so easy. It's much less expensive to feed you than it is many other of our societal challenges. Let's start with food, because the impact on the system is incredibly expensive. And
yeah, but they pass that on to us, right? Like no matter what it is, they're going to pass it on to the citizens, guys.
Again, will live on for generations.
They're not taking the brunt of that.
The latest data from Feeding America estimates that food insecurity cost the U.S. $52.9 billion in healthcare costs back in 2016.
There's so many negative
Yeah, but we're paying that bill though, guys.
health consequences associated with food insecurity.
A 2022 analysis from the American Action Forum estimates that just 4 nutrition-related chronic diseases among 18 to 64-year-olds cost the U.S. $16 trillion between 2011 and 2020.
When you are hungry, your body takes your body away. You are consumed by your inner self. Your brain doesn't function right. You don't think well. Everything goes wrong. And if you're a senior citizen, especially if you have some problems with walking or you've got some kind of intrinsic ailment or something like that, that's going to get exacerbated beyond control.
Food insecurity is absolutely a solvable problem.
In a wealthy country like ours, the people are not having enough food. This is a solvable problem.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture budgeted $163 billion for major nutrition assistance programs in 2022. Among them, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is the largest domestic food assistance programs for low-income Americans.
What's interesting here is that, guys, I complain a lot about taxes, guys. I'm just going to be honest. I do. I complain a lot about that. I hate paying taxes. I hate it, right? Except in these instances, guys, right? So if it goes to something like this, I do not mind my taxes going to literally help keep someone else alive, right? But when it goes to take people's lives, I'm not really a fan of that.
Center on Budget and Policy.
Like, I don't mind helping
Priorities
somebody
estimate
eat,
that
guys.
SNAP
That's
reduces
a
the overall prevalence of food insecurity.
that should be the
by as much as
minimum we should be
30%.
doing.
SNAP, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, is what we have called food stamps for many years. This electronic benefit is available to Americans that qualify based on their household size and their income.
You give individuals an EBT card, which allows people to shop alongside their neighbors and friends in their local food stores. SNAP is an amazing program. It sets out to alleviate food insecurity, and study after study has demonstrated that it does.
But despite its effectiveness, many are falling through the cracks. SNAP eligibility is based on the poverty threshold. But the Union of Concerned Scientists estimate that almost 1 in 5 households with incomes between 130% and 185% of the poverty threshold do not qualify for SNAP, even though they are considered food insecure.
We have heard concerns that SNAP isn't available to enough families in need. It is a program that is highly targeted to very low-income families, and Congress sets the eligibility criteria for SNAP, and they certainly have the opportunity to review those rules and take a look at whether the program could be expanded.
A major complaint concerning SNAP also revolved around its amount. In 2021, 1 in 3 households that received SNAP still had to visit the food pantry due to a lack of budget.
I think that could be probably rectified if you limit actually what can be used on that card, right? Like if you just stop like the lobster and like crab type of thing, guys, or salmon, right, in large quantities, I think you'll have the budget would probably last longer. Not saying that that's what every single person does, again, but the reason why I'm saying this is because, guys, I literally knew a human that did this, right? Listen, the amount of time she would be like, she'd call everyone up on the phone. Hey, it's whatever day that the money comes in, guys, right? And it's just like, hey, give me $50 for 100. You understand? And that's what kind of, made me look at the program a little bit weird, occasionally at least, right? Obviously knowing not everyone does that type of thing, but then also, going to like random like barbecues, parties type of thing, right? Set up by someone who uses that program to basically throw a gigantic barbecue for random people, right? To come in and pay for a plate type of thing, guys, right? I think if you were to limit, and this is why I'm saying these things, keep this in mind. I'm not just saying it just to kind of throw dirt on the name of the program. I'm just telling you what I've experienced, right? And it's just like, guys, if you limit the amount of, refined sugars in cereals, like none of these General Mills sugar-filled cereals that are just going to, keep you hungry and not really sustain you by any definition, really, and just do things that actually have the capability to actually do something, guys. I think that whatever budget you're giving could probably work based off of like large quantities of rice and beans and things like that needed to actually sustain, rather than the luxuries, the irrelevancies, guys.
6 out of 10 SNAP recipients also reported that food prices prevented them from buying nutritious food. That was until a big change was made the same year.
The Thrifty Food Plan was increased by 20%, which means everybody's across the board SNAP benefits increased by 20%. I mean, that was a big deal. So in other words, yes, I think SNAP benefits should be somewhat higher, but on the other hand, a 20% increase in benefits is great. I think we should increase them further. 20% is great though. And I never want
What's
that
given
to be
per
diminished.
person.
So we're really pleased with the benefit that the program offers. We'll be able to do that reevaluation every 5 years under federal law, and we'll keep looking at whether the program is accomplishing its goal, which is supporting families with enough money to purchase a very basic but healthy diet.
Aside from increasing SNAP, advocates suggest additional programs that focus on feeding the most vulnerable.
America doesn't seem to like us or think about us in the way that they think about other things. This is not political. This is far beyond politics.
We need to feed our elders. They've served. We need to feed our veterans. They have served. We can start with some simple
Absolutely.
things. We just need to feed children. We need to make sure.
Like, I can't imagine a veteran that served in some type of kerfuffle coming back we don't take care of them. That's crazy, bro. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm in the school of thought that veterans shouldn't come back and pay taxes ever, right? And they should never be hungry, bro. They should never be without any type of house. If they need some type of like assistance in the VA, how about this? Rework the entire VA so it actually helps the people that have seen these absolutely horrific things to come back and kind of normalize, in a sense, mentally. We need to do a lot more for veterans, period. Let's just start right there, right, and move forward. We should not be, there should, guys, the concept of a homeless veteran should be like spitting in our face, guys, right? It's disrespectful. All right, that's a shame on us as a group of people in the United States of America, guys.
They have served. We can start with some simple things. We just need to feed children. We need to make sure there is good food in every school, every public school in the United States. Big task, but it would make a huge difference.
Right, it would. I'm down with that.
The Biden-Harris administration pledged more than $8 billion to end hunger by 2030.
We can do this. End hunger in this country by the year 2030. And lower the toll. Lower the toll that diet-related diseases takes on for too many Americans. This goal is within our reach.
Ultimately, the key to ending hunger.
Guys, I'm gonna be super honest. I think that was probably the longest I ever watched Biden on the screen. Like, I mean, like within obviously the last 5 years or so. Okay, let's go.
Hunger lies in solving the core issues that cause Americans to struggle in the first place.
At the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health, the president called for an all-of-government, all-of-society approach. I think what's really different and special is, in addition to saying we need to strengthen our federal nutrition programs to tackle hunger, the president is also saying we need investments, again, further upstream in the problem, whether it's better wages, affordable childcare, affordable housing, investments or refundable tax credits. Investments in those places will result in fewer people needing food assistance, and I think it's really core to our approach in addressing hunger.
I can assure you there is enough food in America. I can assure you there's enough money in America. The challenge is connecting those and ensuring that people have enough money to get enough food.
All right. Guys, I like the idea, right? I mean, guys, something needs to happen. I don't care who does it. It just needs to happen, right? We should be looking to take care of each other. We're Americans, guys. Like, we used to be really good at this. Seriously, right? To the point where the world looked at us for basically everything. Everything. And then we destroyed ourselves. We did. Absolutely. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day and enjoy your day thoroughly.